So, good evening. How is everybody out there? Perfect timing as always, Count Beauty. You're always within 15 seconds of me coming online and clicking the button to say yes. Okay, so we got Victor here as well. That's great. We're going to have another lesson just as we normally do. That was a fly walking across the camera. So I hope you're all well. Good evening, Petra. Okay, that sounds really good. So I hope you're all well. I hope you're all looking after yourselves. Good evening, Danielle. Good evening, Andreas and Boyka. All these people who always seem to come. So, and Miss Sadia, good evening. Okay, and lots of people. This is brilliant. Firas, good evening as well. So, here we have an idiom. It says, where is the grass always greener? Where is the grass always greener? Yeah, where is the grass always greener? Yeah, where is the grass always greener? Good evening, Vero, Cecilia, Andreas, Ein Rockfan, good evening, Pradeep. So, atavistic, it's to do with the past. It's to do with ancient things. So, maybe ancient Rome. On the other side. On the other side of what? The grass is always greener on the other side. In the neighbour's yard. On the other side. But on the other side of what? So where is the grass always greener? On the other side. On the other side of the what? Yes, you're right, Javi. It's not actually true. It just seems greener. This is the meaning in your neighbour's garden. I'm sorry you were hit by a car, Om. I hope you get better soon. Thank you, Firas. Finally. On the other side of the fence, and Vitalie. Yes. Okay, so the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. So it always looks like the situation of your neighbour is better than yours, yeah? It's always greener on his side of the fence. Yeah, everything always looks better when someone else has it. But it's not necessarily true, is it, unfortunately? Okay, on the other side of the fence, that's the full one, Vero, thank you. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. Good evening, Renyard. Okay, so let's try, and Cecilia, on the other side of the fence, that sounds good to me. Okay, and let's try another one then. Yeah, okay, so we can say this, the grass is always greener on the other side of my fence. My neighbour's lawn always looks greener than mine. A fence is the wall that separates two gardens. Yeah, good evening, Elena, nice to see you. And Satish as well, good evening. So money is sometimes referred to as filthy what? This is another word for money. As filthy. Money is sometimes referred to as filthy. Oh, well done, Vitalie. Yes, that's definitely right. Yeah, I think maybe the only one who actually knows this one. Filthy. Let me put these in capital letters. LUCRE. Okay, good evening, Gloria. Okay, filthy lucre. Lucre is, filthy cash. Let's see. Lucre refers to money and riches or wealth, especially when it has a corrupting influence, when it causes greed, or it's obtained in an underhand manner. Yeah, filthy lucre. Yes, that's it. Finally, Danielle, that's good. Okay, filthy lucre. So we refer to money sometimes as filthy lucre, a horrible corrupting influence. So where lucre? No, what is lucre? Lucre refers to money, to wealth, to riches, but as a corrupting influence. Yeah, it makes people do things that they shouldn't really do. Yeah, like money laundering. That's a perfect example of filthy lucre. Yeah, exactly. Okay. His family are rich. He was born with a in his mouth. And I know we did this one the other day. Yeah? So you are born with a in your mouth. Thank you, Om. That's a very nice phrase to use. Okay, it's not golden. It's like Elena says, it's silver. Well done, Count Beauty. Yes. And Misadia, Hussein as well, good evening. And Javi. Okay, he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. So the food that they gave him was a baby that was with silver. Yeah, I think Montespan, I think gold is, it sounds better, but the phrase is to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Yeah, to have all the advantages, never to want for anything. So I don't think many of us out here were born with a silver spoon in their mouths. Yeah, okay. So Manu, Firas, good. Head through this. You've got the idea. So I think maybe I don't know, was Mr. Trump born with a silver spoon in his mouth? Was his family rich when he was young? I don't know. Something I should know. Yeah. What about the origin? I think it's just saying that when he was a baby, the spoon that they used, it wasn't a plastic one, but it was a silver spoon. Yeah, so they hadn't had enough money to buy silver already when he was a little kid. So let's try this next one then. A person's livelihood or main source of income is called their and Okay, so Tom K, good evening. Vitalie, yes. And Manjira, that's good. So unfortunately, Hussein, we say bread and butter. Although from a Middle Eastern point of view, salt and bread sounds very good. Yeah. Okay, it's called their bread and butter. Their bread and butter. And certainly, at least for British people, this is the basic food. Yeah, it buys their bread and butter. So good Montespan, Victor, Rohan, Vero, Boyka, head through this. Yeah, it's called their bread and butter. Or maybe a company, its bread and butter business is, I don't know, selling books. Yeah, for a bookshop, its bread and butter business is selling books. Yeah. So the phrase is to bring home the bacon. Bring home the bacon. Yeah, absolutely, Firas. Okay, so this next one is about to appear as well. It's better to provide too much than too little. It's better to on the side of, so better to be safe than sorry. Better to go too far than too short. Yeah. So I think I had a video about this the other day. I'm not entirely sure, but I certainly remember this idiom. And Vitaly, as always, yeah, you're very good at this. You seem to have a very wide knowledge. Okay, so let me put the answer in here for the rest of you, or am I going to get some more answers from people? So to be on the side, be on the safe side, I would say. Javi, it's better to be on the safe side, but it's better to err on the side of caution. Yeah, it's better to stay than to go. That's a good guess, Nick Thims. Okay. Bread and butter, it refers to the basic things. Yeah. Let's see. The bread and butter business of a bakery is making bread. Yes, well done, Vero and Victor. So to err on the side of caution. To err means to make a mistake. So if you're going to make a mistake, it's better to make the mistake by providing too much than too little. So notice read through this. It's to err. Yeah, not to err, to err. Okay, that's a pleasure, corazon. So, let's see. Yeah, it's better to err on the side of caution. It's better to be safe than sorry. Yeah, so make sure you've got enough. Always. And, the next one I quite like. It's got two different answers. Okay, so to err on the side of caution. Yeah, it's better to have more than enough money to pay for something than not to have enough to pay for it. Yeah, because like that you're going to be able to take it home. But so to err on the side of caution. Error is a noun. Err is the verb. Exactly. Yes. So to err. Head through this. Let's see. To err is human, to forgive divine. To err is human, to forgive divine. So humans always make mistakes. Yeah? Okay? To err. Okay, so we've got lots of answers here. So who was first with that? That was Rohan, every nook and cranny. Followed by Tom K and Vitalia and Harry, every nook and cranny. And LXUAE as well. And Nick Thims, every nook and cranny. And then on goes to the second one. I looked high and low. Okay, every nook and cranny, not every nick and cranny. So, Anna, I looked high and low. Okay, so Manjira, nook and cranny. Nook and cranny. I'm going to write the answers into this so you can see them. No, that's the wrong page. I looked in every nook and cranny. So a nook is a small space. Yeah, a small hole, and a cranny is like a crack in the rock. Yeah, so every nook, every small space, and every cranny, every crack. Who said here and there? I'm rock fan. I looked here and there. That definitely works. So I looked high and low, and I'm going to have to include that Ein Rock fan. I looked here and there. Yeah, that works as well. Okay, so good evening, Navi. Okay, so to look everywhere, to look in every nook and cranny, to look high and low, or to look here and there as well. I think that's very good. I think those are good answers. So let's have the next one then. Okay, yeah, in and out and all about. In and out and all about. I quite like that one as well. Left and right. I looked left and right. Yes, I guess that works as well. Okay, so the next one is about taking revenge. So, Ankush, every nook and cranny. Nook and cranny. Nook and cranny. Both of these are good words to use. I'm very well, thank you, Sapphire. Okay, so revenge. To look in every corner, that works as well. Revenge is to take an for an and a for a. Revenge. Retaliation. So, Anna, eye for an eye. You hear, eye for an eye. And a tooth for a tooth. Hubby, well done with the second bit. Yes, revenge is very different from avenge. Okay, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Yes, Montespan, and you hear, that's it. Tooth for tooth, yes. They say this in Arabic. That's good. An eye for an eye. And Count Beauty, nice to hear you chipping in. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Okay, Victor and Danielle and Mangira. Eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Nick Thims. Okay, and Mishaya as well has got that one. Okay, next one's quite a fun one. Yeah, it's a way to call somebody ugly. Yeah, so yeah, it's a way to call someone ugly. Manu, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Revenge is better served cold. So, hubby, the phrase they use is revenge is a dish best served cold. Yeah, it means when you take revenge in cold blood, it's always much more satisfying and effective. Okay, he was very ugly. He had a face that could stop a... I think probably, Tom K, that bus works. But we often use another phrase. I quite like that bus. He had a face that could stop a... So, not a train. I don't think a train. And Hussein, there we go. Hussein, that's very good, sir. Yeah, first in there with that one. So, no, Danielle. Yes, Danielle. So, and Vitaly now as well. He had a face that could stop a clock. Yeah, I quite like the bus as well, but a clock. Yeah, he was so ugly, he had a face that could stop a clock. Tick, 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 tick. My God, he's ugly. Okay, a sight for sore eyes. That's when you see something that you really, really needed and it appears just at the right moment. Okay, a clock. That's it, Nick Thims. Andreas as well. Okay, now we're going to do the story today. Lavinia, good evening. A face that could stop a clock. That sounds like me. Okay, good evening, Lavinia. Nice to see you. Yes, I think it's funny. And that's why I like to include this one. Okay, we're going to have a story called The Donkey and a Mule. Just a face that could stop a clock. Yeah? I'm sure you know somebody who's got a face that could stop a clock. Okay, the story today is about a donkey and a mule. Yeah? I think a mule is sort of like a big donkey. Yeah? And then there's a couple of questions to go with it. Why was the donkey complaining? What did the owner do and why? And as always, what moral would you give the story? So, the donkey and the mule. Why was the donkey complaining? What did the owner do and why? And what moral would you give the story? So listen. A donkey and a mule were walking along together. When the donkey saw that they were carrying equal loads, he got angry and complained that the mule got a double portion of food, even though she carried a load that was no bigger than his own. After they had journeyed a little further down the road, the owner saw that the donkey could not hold up under the weight. So he took part of the donkey's load and placed it on the mule. Later, when the owner saw that the donkey had grown even more tired, he again transferred some of the donkey's load to the mule, and so on. Finally, the owner took the entire load and shifted it from the donkey to the mule. At that point, the mule glanced over at the donkey and said, "What do you say now? Don't I deserve a double portion of food?" So that's pretty good, Tom K. Yes, I also believe a mule is a breed between a female horse and a donkey. I think that's right. I'm fine, Anderson. Good to see you. Okay, so you've never heard this story. Well, first time. So, and I'm Rock Fan. He was complaining about meal, a double of food. He was complaining that the mule had a double portion of food. Ein Rock Fan, yeah? He was complaining that the mule had a double portion of food. Let me read again. A donkey and a mule were walking along together. When the donkey saw that they were carrying equal loads, he got angry and complained that the mule got a double portion of food, even though she carried a load that was no bigger than his own. After they had journeyed a little further down the road, the owner saw that the donkey could not hold up under the weight. So the owner took part of the donkey's load and placed it on the mule. Later, when the owner saw that the donkey had grown even more tired, he again transferred some of the donkey's load to the mule, and so on. Finally, the owner took the entire load left on the donkey and shifted it from the donkey to the mule. At that point, the mule glanced, looked at the donkey and said, "What do you say now? Don't I deserve a double portion of food?" So, let's see. Danielle. The donkey was complaining about an unfair distribution of food, not meal, Danielle, of food for him. So, you were most remiss about the time of the live stream. That's a good use of remiss, Anderson. So, Manu, the donkey was complaining because the mule had a double portion of food. Good. Javi. Moral. The lawn always seems to be greener on the other side of the fence. Very good, Javi. And Beauty. The donkey was complaining about uneven treatment, Beauty, because the mule gets more food despite the fact that both of them were carrying the same weight. Good work, Beauty. Boyka. The donkey was complaining because the mule's share of food is twice in comparison to the donkey's share, Boyka. Sapphire. The donkey got jealous and thought that the mule had a bigger portion than him. Okay. Reduce the donkey's load. Absolutely, Missia. Mickens. But if they're both carrying the food... No, they're not carrying the food. They're carrying a load. I think they're probably carrying salt, for example. So they're not carrying the food. The food is in the stable when they get home. So Anna G, the donkey complained. Okay, the donkey's complaint was unreasonable, Anna. Renyard. The donkey complained about social injustice. 2. Relieve the donkey from extra load. Good, Renyard. 3. Sometimes injustice transforms into justice after a certain period of time. And Mangira, so it's not Mangira, Missaria Jack. It does not pay to be loathsome or lazy. Okay, and this one is Mangira. The donkey was complaining about the mule having a double portion of food. Good English. The owner, seeing the donkey was getting exhausted, transferred some of his loads onto the mule's back. Good English, Mangira. Hussein. The donkey complains because the mule is awarded. So complains because the mule is awarded a double portion of food. The owner did it because the mule carried more loads, carried a heavier load. And Firas, sometimes one should upset the apple cart. That sounds okay, Firas. And Lavinia. The donkey complained about the distribution of food because the mule has got the double portion, so the mule has a double portion. The mule has a double portion, Lavinia, despite the fact that they carry the same weight. The owner reduced the donkey's load. That's good work, Lavinia. And Boyka, the owner took some of the donkey's portion and gave it to the mule until he took all the donkey's load and gave it to the mule. Good, Boyka. Yahia. Time proved the donkey's speculation wrong. Absolutely. We need to look at how things end up, not how they start out. Nabby, the moral of the story is that everyone gets what they deserve. I wish it was true, but it's a good moral. Lavinia. The moral is don't be envious of your friend. That's good English, Lavinia. Danielle. The owner then transferred some of the weight from the donkey to the mule, since he felt the donkey was growing more and more tired. That's good. I like that verb, to grow tired, Danielle. That's good. The donkey was complaining about the biased, good word, distribution of food between them, despite the fact that the same amount of food was resting on their backs, plural. Hallet, good evening. The owner took some part of the donkey's load and put it on the back of the mule because the donkey was exhausted along the road. Good English, Hallet. Nabby, the reward is according to the effort made. Good Boyka, look before you leap. Massimo, I'm glad you follow my videos. Ricardo, the donkey was complaining about the weight, W-E-I-G-H-T, the weight's distribution. So, Ricardo, apostrophe S only for animate things. Weight is not animate, therefore the distribution of the weight. And he considered unfair the food's portion, the portion of food, food's not animate, that later they received. So, think about this use of apostrophe S only for animate things, organisations, countries, and the one exception is time. Ideal Airport Bus Express. Perseverance is the hard work you do after you get tired of doing the hard work you already did. That's very good. Javi, moral. You reap what you sow. That sounds great. Ankush. The owner tried to relax the donkey by transferring load to the mule. So I think instead of relax, to relieve the donkey. Tom K. Moral. Sometimes it's better to go about improving yourself and your disadvantages before complaining about the success of others. That's good, Tom. Nabby. The donkey complained about the food having been divided unequally. That's good English, Nabby. Sapphire. We should not be envious of others. Good English. Manjira. Failures very often are followed by or justified by excuses. Good English, Manjira. Anna G. The owner transferred the load to the mule because he knew the mule could handle a heavier load. And on the other hand, the donkey was exhausted and unable to continue holding up, no to, the load. That's good English, Anna G. Okay, the only mistake, holding up the load, no to. And Beauty. The owner displaced the load of the mule, and the mule, in the end, was carrying all of the load. The moral is, envious eyes are never full. Good English. So, 1,000 subs. It reflects the inequality in society. Good English. Hallet. The moral behind the story is that more you work, the more you eat, or something like that. And head through this. Moral. Instead of looking how things start, we should look instead at how they turn out in the end. Yes, that's my one. That's very good. That's the one I've got written here. And Satish. Moral. Don't condemn the people who live better than you, because they may work harder. Yes, that's good as well. Vasu. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That sounds pretty good. Lavinia. The moral is, be happy with the things that you have. The owner entrusted some of the donkey's load to the mule to let him heave a sigh of relief for some time. Yeah, I'm sure the donkey heaved a sigh of relief. Yeah? Okay, and let's see. And Ein Rock fan, before you judge the others, the lives of others, look at your own. That's good, Ein Rock fan. Habi, it served it well to the cunning donkey. I think it served the cunning donkey right. And Airport Express, do not expect to get rewarded before providing the service. And Maximo says the moral is you get what you give. That sounds pretty good. So, here's the story and I'm going to read it. A donkey and a mule were walking along together. When the donkey saw that they were carrying equal loads, he got angry and complained that the mule got a double portion of food, even though she carried a load that was no bigger than his own. Okay, so he's complaining. After they had journeyed a little further down the road, after they'd gone a bit more distance, the owner saw that the donkey could not hold up under the weight. He couldn't stand under the weight. So he took part of the donkey's load, apostrophe S because the donkey is animate, and placed it on the mule. Later, when the owner saw that the donkey had grown even more tired, to grow adjective, a very common phrase, he again transferred some of the donkey's load to the mule, and so on. Finally, the owner took the entire load and shifted and moved it from the donkey to the mule. At that point, the mule glanced over, looked over at the donkey, and said, "What do you say now? Don't I deserve a double portion of food?" Okay, so that was really good. You all seem to have understood this very well. Lavinia, to journey is a verb, yes. To go on, to walk, to journey, to travel. In my youth, I journeyed all over Europe. I have journeyed all over southern India. Yeah, to journey, to travel. It's the same as to travel, Lavinia. Okay, so, And Renyard, to journey, to travel, exactly. So from here, what's next? Okay, Nabi says, the moral of the story is to fulfill your duty before claiming your rights. I think that's a good moral. Okay, so let's just try some easy questions to finish up. So, where does a bird lay its eggs? Where does a bird lay its eggs? Yes, Selena. People who speak Russian and Russian languages, like Ukrainian, have terrible problems with the. So, how to expand your vocabulary? Listen to BBC Radio 4. So, try the question. Where does a bird lay its eggs? And 1,000 subs has said it. Yes, and Renyad Vasu Levin in the nest. Lavinia, nest. Count Beauty, Nick Thims, that's better Lavinia. Ashvin, on the nest. Head through this. Yehia, Airport Express, says, I think the essence of the story is equality versus equity. That's very good. Okay, Hadi, in the nest. Danielle, in its nest. Abdi, in the nest. And yes, Lavinia. He might lay them in his nest. Absolutely, Montespan. And Ankush says, doing hard work is more laudable than being envious. So, Mixan, in a nest. Absolutely. Nabi, in a nest. Okay. Whoops. That wasn't what I wanted to do. So I just wanted to put this question. Okay, so let's try another one then. What does an alchemist want to do? What does an alchemist want to do? Look up Aesop. 1,000 subs. Just look up Aesop's Fables. Yeah? And I recommend Laura Gibbs. She's brilliant. She translates them. Okay, so what does an alchemist want to do? Do chemistry stuff. He wants to make gold. That's it, Beauty. To predict the future. I guess he probably wants to predict the future as well. Turn flint into gold. Normally they say to turn lead into gold, Lead, the metal, but flint would do. Flint is a type of stone. To turn rubbish into gold, that's very good. He wants to transfer stone into gold, to create artificial life. Lead. A metal. PB. To discover, thank you, Maxine. Okay, to discover the Philosopher's Stone. That was the answer I was really looking for. That's a great one. And let's try another one. Name a large seaport. To do alchemy, I guess. And Manjira to convert metals into gold. That's great. So, name a large seaport. 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 Yes, that's it. The purpose is to gain eternal life. That's it. Very good, 1,000 subs. And Satish Gold. So Ricardo, not plum, lead. Lead, lead. So, Ashvin, to understand the behaviour of matter. The port of Palermo. Very good, Lavinia. You're the first person to answer this one. And Renyard says Liverpool, and Tom K says Liverpool as well. Buenos Aires, I like that one. That's a good port, 1,000 subs. And Manu, the alchemists mix up some different chemical ingredients. Yes. Beauty, Newcastle, Liverpool. I guess Santa Monica Pier. I guess Santa Monica is quite a big port as well, although I think you probably find San Francisco's a bigger port. So a seaport, seaport, that's the word, seaport, a seaport. Yeah, is a port on the sea. Um, so, Piraeus, yes, Nick Thims, definitely Piraeus is a big port. And Montesatish, transmutation, good. Montespan says Liverpool. Vasu, the port of Shanghai. The port of Shanghai is enormous. Marseille, yeah, Marseille's a big port, Manu. Bournemouth, top Abdul. Okay, I guess it's a seaport, very definitely. Aden, that's a really good one, Abdi. Yeah, Aden in Yemen is a very big port. Lavinia, Brighton port, it's a small seaport. To turn carbon into diamond, that's an interesting one. Singapore, Hussein, that's a good one as well. And head through this, Marseille in France, yes. Okay, the port of Rome. So Manu says Marseille. I speak Spanish, 1,000 subs. 1000 subs sin subir video. So, for anybody knows Port Franco. I don't know Port Franco, but Gibraltar, I guess as well. You prefer yours. Porto Santos, here in your state, Victor. Tangier, yes, in Morocco. Portsmouth is a big one, and Rotterdam as well. Okay, let's try one more and then we're going to stop. Name a type of Italian food. This is a really easy one. Name a type of Italian food. Yeah, all you need to do is hear the question and answer it. Yeah, it's a question of do you understand the question? So let's see. Lily. I'm really bad with Russian letters. A river port. Yeah, in parlance, a river port. I guess there is such things, but it's not common. I don't know. Letizia is a river port on the Amazon. So, name an Italian food. This sounds good. Pasta, pasta, pasta. Tom K, Victor, Manu, spaghetti. Tom K, pizza, spaghetti, lasagna, Manu. Pizza, pizza, pizza. Yes, you're all real fans of pizza, I can see. Pepperoni. Okay, pepperoni pizza. Ravioli pasta. That's the idea. Good. Carbonara, lasagna, pasta. Okay, Lavinia, you could go on for half an hour. Saltimbocca, that sounds delicious, Hussein. Port of Los Angeles, Firas, that works. So, hola, Juan Manuel. And lasagna, spaghetti, cannoli, meat, minestrone, that's better. Montespan. Cassata Siciliana, sounds delicious, Lavinia. Okay, so I'm just going to place this here, and I think it's time for us to stop. Risotto. Risotto looks very nice as well. Tiene buena pinta. Okay, so I will see you all next week. Thank you for coming. You've been a great crowd. You participated with lots of spirit, and that's wonderful. Okay, I'll see you all next week. Take care and look after yourselves. Bye for now.